Although Elden Ring was released over 2 years ago, there are still unanswered questions about its lore. No question intrigues the masses quite like the identity of the Gloam-Eyed Queen. Her name appears in a few item descriptions, but there are no statues or other depictions that hint at her appearance, or at least none that are explicitly clear. This is precisely why her identity remains such a mystery. Each detail has to be painstakingly pieced together and interpreted in connection with other evidence to ultimately form a coherent picture. Here's my theory on who the Gloam-Eyed Queen is, her connection to the Golden Order, and why she vanished. The Gloam-Eyed Queen, sometimes referred to as the Dusk-Eyed Queen, is the leader of the Godskins. In the description of the Godskin swaddling cloth, the Godskins are described as the death of the gods. To understand my theory, we first need to clarify what it takes to become a god or a godlike being in the world of Elden Ring. Miquella's path, in Shadow of the Erdtree, gives us insight into this. We follow his footsteps on the path to divinity. If we break down the events and consider them as factual, a recognizable pattern emerges that can be applied to the world of Elden Ring. After defeating Miquella and Radahn, we receive the item Remembrance of a God and a Lord. This confirms that Miquella succeeded in becoming a god. Looking at everything as a whole, we can see a pattern. To become a god requires two individuals. One, like Miquella, who sheds their flesh to become a divine, bodiless entity, and another, a vessel or a body, through which this god can interact with the physical world. This vessel, as we learn from the item description of Remembrance of a God and a Lord, is referred to as a lord, or consort. Becoming a god is also associated with the beginning of a new era. A similar setup is seen in the main game with Marika and Radagon. Marika is the divine, supernatural aspect, while Radagon is the vessel, and thus represents their physical presence. This idea is reinforced by the image of the Vitruvian Man. The image shows two figures in different poses. The outward stretched arms signify the physical presence of the human body, while the arms raised upward represent the supernatural, or the spirit. Keeping this image in mind, look at the poses of Marika and Radagon. Radagon is the physical part, while Marika represents the spiritual. Marika is the god, with Lord Radagon as her vessel. The same arrangement is seen at the end of Ranni's questline. Ranni is bodiless, her spirit residing in a doll. We become her consort, and in the end, she ushers in a new era, with us as her consort. Now that we understand how one becomes a god in Elden Ring, let's explore what this has to do with the Gloam-Eyed Queen. Marika is responsible for the emergence of the Golden Order. If you look at the timeline, you'll see that the Golden Order only came into existence once Destined Death was sealed. Destined Death was the source, or rather the main component, of Black Flame, the Godskins' greatest weapon in their battle against the gods. The description of the Godslayer's great sword tells us that the Gloam-Eyed Queen was defeated by Malekith. To establish the Golden Order, it was therefore necessary to defeat the Gloam-Eyed Queen and seal Destined Death. This implies that Queen Marika and the Gloam-Eyed Queen stood as enemies. It's only after we defeat Malekith and release Destined Death that we can complete the game, initiating a new era through various endings. The main clues to the Gloam-Eyed Queen's existence are always linked to the Godskins. She is their leader, and her story is conveyed through them. This includes not only the descriptions of the items we obtain from the Godskins, but also the locations where we encounter them, which give us insights into various connections. In this video, I want to focus on Volcano Manor and Farum Azula, as these places have the strongest ties to the Gloam-Eyed Queen. In the world of Elden Ring, trees symbolize divinity. The Gloam-Eyed Queen represents the antithesis of divinity. She leads the Godskins, who represent the death of the gods, and all forms of fire and other symbols that oppose divinity can be associated with her. In Volcano Manor, we find snakes, fire, and Rykard, the Lord of Blasphemy, all signs that oppose the gods and the Golden Order. And what, or rather, whom, do we find there as well? A Godskin noble. A clear reference to the Gloam-Eyed Queen, the leader of those who reject and aim to kill the divine. Most references to the Gloam-Eyed Queen, however, are found in Farum Azula. Here, we encounter Malekith, who, once defeated, releases Destined Death, and we also come across the Godskin duo. Malekith, Godskins, and Destined Death are the three things consistently associated with the Gloam-Eyed Queen, all gathered in one place. Coincidence? I think not. From the various endings, we know that the current god must always be defeated for a new god to emerge and usher in a new era. This suggests that before Marika and the Golden Order, there must have been another era, another god and consort, and thus another kingdom. The Gloam-Eyed Queen was defeated by Malekith, paving the way for the Golden Order. From the Frenzied Flame ending, we know that divinity doesn't always mean peace. It can also mean complete chaos. So, is an Age of Blasphemy also possible? Another item linking Farum Azula and the Gloam-Eyed Queen is the somber smithing stone +10, which resembles a dragon's jaw and contains the description allowing the creation of a weapon capable of slaying a god. In Farum Azula, we also meet the NPC invader Recusant Bernal, who appears to come directly from Volcano Manor, wielding a weapon adorned with snakes and using blasphemous incantations. When we defeat him, we obtain the Blasphemous Claw, which gives us an advantage in the battle against Malekith. Behind him, we find a chest seemingly adorned with an image of Malekith. Inside is the Old Lord's Talisman, which describes Farum Azula as an ancient royal city. It implies that Placidusa is a lord. This suggests that if Placidusax as a lord can serve as a consort, the question arises, who is the god behind him? Was the gloam-eyed queen the goddess and Placidusax her consort? After all, everything connected to the gloam-eyed queen can be found there. Even Malekith, the one who defeated her, is in this place. In Malekith's remembrance, it states, even then she betrayed him. After he defeated the gloam-eyed queen, did Marika simply leave him behind to establish her new era? If so, this suggests that before Marika and Radagon, the gloam-eyed queen, and Placidusa were the god and consort duo. If my assumption is correct, this wouldn't be the only time the gloam-eyed queen became a goddess and inaugurated a new era. Looking at the frenzied flame ending, it's clear why many believe MELINA is the gloam-eyed queen. However, I disagree. First, it doesn't fit the timeline, and second, it would be too obvious. I believe MELINA serves as a vessel for the gloam-eyed queen, much like Radagon is to Marika. Although MELINA is bodiless, she proves capable of affecting the physical world when she sets the Erdtree ablaze. The reason I believe MELINA serves as the gloam-eyed queen's vessel is due to several hints. The gloam-eyed queen is sometimes referred to as the dusk-eyed queen. Gloam is another word for twilight. Many assume the gloam-eyed queen must have two gloam-colored eyes, but this isn't necessarily the case. In Elden Ring, dusk is depicted as gray, and similar to Ash in the Age of the Duskborn ending. Looking at MELINA in the Frenzied Flame ending, we see that she has one dusk-colored and one gloam-colored eye. This explains why both the terms gloam-eyed and dusk-eyed are used. With Marika and Radagon, we can see that the vessel can exhibit both its own traits and those of its god, as seen in their hair color and proportions. Throughout the game, MELINA has regular white skin and golden eyes. Once she becomes the gloam-eyed queen's vessel, her eyes change color, and she gains a gray skin tone similar to the godskins. The game then shows an image of the shattered Erdtree, a symbol of divinity, with the sky resembling dawn, a gloam sky. Finally, we hear MELINA say,
Lord of frenzied flame, I will seek you as far as you may travel. To deliver you what is yours. Destined death.
When the gloam-eyed queen was defeated by Malekith, destined death was sealed. After Malekith's defeat, destined death is released and returned to its original bearer, the gloam-eyed queen. To deliver something, you must be its bearer. It's likely that the gloam-eyed queen bestows destined death upon MELINA, just as Radahn receives the power of light from Miquella. The Frenzied Flame ending has a double meaning. MELINA doesn't intend to deliver anything to us. She intends to pursue us to bring us what we deserve, a destined death.